Brothers and sisters, it's a pleasure for me to join you this morning on this little meeting. I hope that we can make it worth our time to be here. I will focus our attention this morning on Arabia. Maybe we should do it like, I'm going to say Moses. Arabia. I put this small map up here on the board to give you an idea of where things are. Let me just orient you very briefly. This is where Jerusalem lies, up here. This is the approximate place of the first camp of Lehi and Sariah. This is the approximate place where Nahom lies. If you remember, that's the place, burial place of Ishmael. This is about the place where they came out on the seacoast over in southern Oman. Well, I'll give you reasons why I think that it's southern Oman a little bit later on. The journey from the upper left to the lower right is more than 2,100 miles. I'll just give you an idea of scale of what we're talking about today. Whenever students come to me who are interested in the ancient world and want to work with New Testament studies or Old Testament studies or classics or something, I say, think Arabia. There are literally tens of thousands of inscriptions on temples that are still preserved in southern Arabia. Nobody's read. I mean, it's people who work archaeologically in places like Turkey and Israel would almost kill just for a couple of small ones. These guys had hundreds and hundreds of lines. Let me read a couple of paragraphs to sort of introduce us to what we want to deal with today. Nudged firmly by the Lord, Lehi and Sariah led their extended family out of Jerusalem and into the desert of Arabia, beginning an exodus that would be celebrated in story and song for 1,000 years. Until the translation of the Book of Mormon, their saga would not be known to the wider world for more than 2.5 millennia. While spending months, perhaps years, at a base camp near the northeastern arm of the Red Sea, the family kept contact with their estate at Jerusalem through the 4 sons, Laman, Lemuel, Sam, and Nephi. Twice these sons had to go back to more than 200 miles to the city at the behest of the Lord. It's more like about 270 miles. The first time they went back to obtain a scriptural record inscribed on a place of brass, and the second time to persuade another family, that of a man named Ishmael, to join them at the camp in their quest for a promised land. But after the Lord directed the party to move deeper into the desert, they packed up their tents and provisions and crossed the river Laman, never to return again to Jerusalem, effectively cutting themselves off from hearth and home. A person might ask the question, why pay attention to this family trekking into the desert of Arabia? There are 3 reasons. First, it is evident from the Book of Mormon text that the descendants of this family refer back to this desert saga again and again. It was a chief point of reference in their long history, which in large measure defined how they saw themselves and how they saw others. As an example, for centuries the descendants of the older brothers Laman and Lemuel held the belief that they were driven out of the land of Jerusalem because of the iniquities of their fathers, probably meaning Lehi and Nephi, and that they were wronged in the wilderness, here Arabia, by their brethren, which would include Nephi and Sam. And they were also wronged while crossing the sea. It's all out of Messiah chapter 10, verse 12. The second reason has to do with the narrative of 1 Nephi. While it is spare in its detail, Nephi has written enough that we can actually track in general terms where the family traveled and where important events occurred. There's a third reason. It concerns clues within the text that shed light on this journey of journeys. We notice here that it was not a journey that mirrors circumstances in the upstate of New York, where Joseph Smith was living when he began to translate the Book of Mormon. It was a journey that ran across one of the harshest climes on the surface of the earth. Okay, having said that much, let's let's make a couple of notations. There are very few specific geographical connections that we can make in the Book of 1st Nephi to real terrain. One of those, of course, is Jerusalem. Another one is the Red Sea. The third one is the Indian Ocean, what these people call Iriantum. Joseph Smith elsewhere calls it the Great Sea, or the Great Ocean on the south. And also, I think we can say pretty much where Bountiful lies, because there's only one stretch of land along the whole south coast of Arabia, the south coast mean, meaning the one that stretches from the southwest to northeast. So, along the south coast of Arabia, there's only one place that fits Nephi's description of the botany of the area, which would include wild honey, a lot of fruit, and timbers. And that lies right along in this area here. There's a maritime plain, a plain that runs right along the seacoast, about 100 miles long, between 2 and 20 miles deep. And so on, which every summer during the monsoon rains becomes like